Welcome back, everybody, to the Star Wars podcast, where we talk all things Marvel, Star Wars, and everything in between. Please take a moment to check our show notes to find our social media, merch, and more. Today, we are recapping the finale of Andor in full spoiler details, so if you haven't seen the episode, I would get out of here. And I'm here with a guy who just rushed back from Canto Bight. Between you and I think he has a gambling problem. It's Tommy Pizzullo.
Well, I guess for that intro, I should probably say thank you. Michael, I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yes,
we don't talk about my gambling problem.
Yeah, we'll sorry to put you on blast like that. But we do have a guest here today. Super excited to welcome on for his premiere on the Star Wars podcast. It is podcaster and YouTuber Khalil Jamel. How's it going, Khalil?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me? Everything good?
Yes, sound great.
And hopefully not my last time here because you guys are so much fun. So,
look, we have a little Star Wars family, and we like to keep people in the rotation. So, I guess as long as you don't say something too heinous, I think it'll be fine. Like Andor sucks or something. Do you have that take?
No. See, I'm a Star Wars fan, so nothing Star Wars can be bad. It's just that's just how it works. I'm even wearing my Rogue One shirt. See.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Khalil, I guess more in depth here. What have you thought about the series as a whole?
Okay, so I know your thoughts are on it. Okay, and I want to say I'm not as far as you are, but it's a really good show.
Yeah. I think I'm still processing it a little bit. There were things that I didn't love. If I was in control, I think I would have changed a couple things. But with that being said, I mean, in terms of modern Star Wars, I don't think there's much more you can ask for. Tommy, what have you thought? Here we are. We're sitting here. We're able to look at the complete picture now. Andor, what do you think? How does it hold up?
I think overall I'm positive on it. I think I was kind of nervous they set up a lot of threads to follow throughout the series. And I feel like I was kind of worried they were just going to be like, all right, let's wrap them all up here. And I like that there's still, for season 2, there's still a lot out there left unexplored. I think what they did explore, they've set up a lot. I kind of see where Andor is at the end of this, of how he has gotten to this point where he's, where we see him at the end of the episode.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, don't get me wrong, loved the episode, a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of things that I wanted to see. There was a bit of I don't know, was I expecting too much? Could they have given a little bit more, because we had all these characters coming from across the freaking universe to this one location. And there was a couple run-ins with people, but all in all, I don't even know if Andor was in danger the whole time, everybody wanted him dead, but nobody even was face to face with him.
I do have one problem though, I gotta say, about the show, about that episode specifically. There's one thing, and I don't know if you guys noticed this. So and we're allowed spoilers and stuff, right? No issues with that.
Yes,
okay, cool.
Full
so at the end of the episode, toward the end, when the mother is doing the speech, right, on the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
It takes the Empire so long to realize this is not pro-Empire propaganda. And I'm like, what? Why'd you let them get through the whole speech? At some point, you gotta as soon as you see the Empire is a plague in the galaxy, you probably should stop it there, right?
I think Khalil, like you set up, it's Star Wars. I'm gonna find a way to defend it. So you bring me a complaint, I do have a fix.
That's why I need to know what the defense is for that, though.
Yeah. I would say that, they were probably not happy with her slandering the Empire. But it wasn't until that she was specifically saying we need to do something about it that he stepped in. It's okay, yeah, you hate us, oh well. But not until it's time to actually fight. They were like, okay, maybe this is a little too far. So I think my bigger complaint though is actually especially after the events on Aldhani and the bank heist, we would see a lot of the meetings with the Imperial officers, and they would say things like, we're done. We're like no more Mr. Nice Guy. Basically, we're tightening down the hatches, and there's no more ceremonies, no more. Like they're not allowed to have their culture. Basically, and it's like I mean, they kind of went out of their way a lot to let them have this one little funeral. But Tommy, what do you think about that?
Well, like, do you think it was like all bark, no bite? Like they're just like, or it's like pep talks. We're gonna really, get them next time. No fun. But I don't know. I guess the other half is like, wasn't it like Deidre's plan to like, it was bait. So like, yeah, do the ceremony so we can get Andor, even though we barely see. There's no ever really a big like, oh no, Andor's gonna get caught. Like I was never worried about that throughout this whole episode.
Yeah,
that might be the prequelitis kind of aspect of it, where you're like, I know he's going to be fine at the end of the day because Rogue One. So there is that kind of, I guess, theoretical possibility where people are just kind of like, there's less involved because he shows up in this movie, which happens later.
Yeah. So I will say there is a tinge of that for me, but like especially like towards the end of this episode when we like see all of his friends on the shuttle getting out of there. You had Brasso, you had Bix, you had the little boy who I've decided I'm going to call him Bomb Boy instead of Broom Boy because the only thing he did was throw a bomb. So you get Bomb Boy, you get B2 Emo, like all his buddies are there, and my only thought is like, are y'all all gonna die in season 2? Because like he doesn't mention you guys or anything. I don't know. It looks dark.
I know, especially when Vix was like, he'll come find us. I'm like, oh, hopefully, maybe. I don't think so.
Well, like, okay, I know this is like we typically go like scene by scene. I do want to talk about this up front because this I that moment I actually found to be a little ridiculous because he's like, yeah, of course I'm coming back. And then he goes to Luthen and he's like, kill me. I'm like, what? And here's the thing. It's like, I know what like his goal was to be like, okay, yeah, if you're going to kill me, but I think you're more likely to take me in to be on your side. But like, he didn't offer that at the start of the conversation. He says, kill me. And like, there's a long pause. He's like, wait, is this a trick? He's like, no. He's like, oh, okay. So he's like, or you could take me in. I'm like, what? Yeah, you really led with the kill me pretty hard.
I mean, to be fair, you have to remember when he met Luthen, he was like, I'm like the whole thing was like he could have killed you or turned you in, and he didn't. He took you with him. So I think, and I never understood that. Okay, we gotta go back a little bit for a second here. I still don't understand why like Luthen does this weird thing where he just decides to become like ruthless all of a sudden. Like it feels like it almost comes out of nowhere where. I don't know, again, because I watched the last 2 episodes back to back because I've done this weird watching thing. I don't understand why he just takes this turn. Like, is there like some motivation here I'm missing? Because like he was fine, and then he's like, I want everyone dead. I'm going to sacrifice this pilot, and I'm going to do all this stuff.
I think Luthen's always had a killer instinct to a degree. I think Andor was always a pawn for him. Like, he kept Andor alive because he was a pawn in the first couple episodes, not because he actually cared about Andor or any of that. I don't know. I've seen it as like a little bit of that has come out, and I think it's just been growing more so than like I think if you go back and rewatch it, I think we can see like parts of like, oh, Luthen's ready, especially when he has the conversation with what's his name, where they're like by any means, I think there's definitely an aspect of Luthen that I'd like to explore in season 2 of like, is he too extreme for the Rebels?
Because like, okay, can you explain something to me then? So when this ends up like kind of projecting, because we know this will end up splitting, right? It'll be the Rebel Alliance. So Luthen can't be a part of that Rebel Alliance because the whole thing in Rogue One is the Rebels are too soft. Right? Because like he's more extreme than Saw Gerrera. And if you're more extreme than Saw Gerrera, there's a problem. Like you can't be a part of that Rebel Alliance, which is called soft and weak, right? Like he has to do like something has to happen where they even Mon Mothma is so like it seems so much more, I guess, like extreme than she's portrayed at any other point, right? And she's the leader of the weak Rebel Alliance, right? Like, does that feel like it's going to be a little bit jarring maybe if they kind of like if Luthen ends up being a part of the Rebel Alliance? Why are they weak? And like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the question that will be explored, and we've kind of talked about. He's got the very apt nickname of Axis, and I think that very much is how he is, where he's kind of in the center. He's got his relationship with Mon, he's got his own little crew. He's talking to Saw Gerrera and Krieger's guys. Like he is kind of the center where all the spokes come together. So, I think what's going to be interesting though is like when we realize that Luthen is a very flawed man and isn't necessarily capable of, because even we see in Rogue One, it's not like Saul got better and was more willing to work with the rebels. He got worse, and I think we're going to see how Luthen plays a part in kind of the downfalls that some of the rebels had. Maybe we'll see.
Can he stay alive? Wait, can he even stay alive past season 2?
I guess he could. I mean, they did this kind of thing all the time, like I think the best example is Ahsoka, who her story just kind of continuously stopped at certain points and they never killed her off. And after a while, I was like, it's kind of weird that she's still alive, isn't it? And she's still alive in canon now. So, I guess here's the thing, let's say Luthen, we talked about like the possibilities of like possible Emmys for this show. Let's say Luthen wins an Emmy for this show, and like becomes like a massive fan favorite and critical favorite of everybody. I could totally see a world where they like, oh yeah, he was there the whole time.
But again, I feel like that, like you have to, like, I don't know. I feel like if they do, I kind of want them to have the guts to, even if no matter what happens, to be willing to kill him off, because I think his death would be the perfect thing, which would not only split Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera as we see in Rogue One, but also maybe would force Mon Mothma to be a lot softer and a lot less aggressive, because you see that kind of death. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they have to have the guts to do that. Otherwise, I feel like it's going to be too jarring. It's like there's this person who connects all these people. Where is he in Rogue One? Like,
Yeah, so and that's something we've touched on a lot is the Mon Mothma of it all, and I think basically every episode we're like Mon Mothma needs like serious death around her to become the Mon Mothma she is. We didn't get that in this episode. I'm a little shocked by that. Tommy, what do you think of Mon Mothma? I know you had something else to say, but I also want to know what you thought about Mon Mothma in the finale.
Yeah, I think she's been an interesting character for me. Of like, I think she has the best of intentions, but even she has to get her hands dirty, a little bit at this end game. And I think that's what's interesting about this is like, I think we've seen the rebels, to your point, to a degree, is like these just good guys. But I think what Star Wars has been trying to do in a lot of their shows and a lot of their movies recently is like there's this gray area with all of them. There is no just good and evil. A lot of even our good characters are flawed in a lot of ways. And so I think with Mon, she's a really good example of like she is trying, but it's hard for her. You're seeing that it's breaking her. And I think that's where we'll get that softness is that at a certain point, I think she is going to put her foot down and say, I can't go any further like to this side if this is what the rebels are. And I think for all these characters, to your point of like, it's going to be broken up. It's coming. Like we know at a certain point, there's going to be disagreements of how the rebels should be. And I think that's what makes me so excited about season 2 is I think it's what's going to be that thing that changes it. Is it the Organas being more involved? That's my, like we still haven't seen how that could influence if this does become the future rebels. So.
Yeah, I guess my other complaint, I know like leading with a lot of complaints here at the top for an episode that we loved a lot, but not enough Mon Mothma. Again, I felt like I think the big thing we get at the end here is when we see her meeting with can't remember the gangster, and she's kind of selling off her daughter there for marriage, which was again, we also talked about this last week. Don't you have a cousin that has a lot of money that can help you out? Why do you have to do this? But whatever.
Also, very non-Mon Mothma, like the Mon Mothma we know. Like that kind of thing it seems at least too non-Mon Mothma for me. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah, love Mon Mothma. I think my complaint will always be not enough. I could do some more here.
I will say I'm worried now, Michael. Are you gonna sell me off to podcast marriage in case the podcast for more viewers?
Yeah, if like we come across a big deal and they're like, yeah, but Tommy, we're gonna have to bring him over to this other podcast. Be like, ugh.
I'll take him.
Oh no, see, it's happening already, Michael.
We just opened the door. There's about to be a bidding war for Tommy.
Yeah. You can have it. I don't know what I do here half the time.
I will say one of my favorite things about Mon in this episode, very subtle, and it didn't really click with me until a little later, but the conversation she has in the car with Perrin was basically set up to throw them off. And she's accusing him of getting back into gambling. And even he's like, I don't know what you're talking. Like, they're making up lies. Like, I believe Perrin was actually not gambling. My mama made up this lie because she knew her driver listens in. So they would take that information back to Blevins later and tell him, oh, they're having gambling problems. And that could explain a lot of the financial issues they're having, which I thought this was so smart. What do you think about that, Khalil?
I thought it was code. I thought she was speaking code. I thought the entire time, like, because it seemed like everything, she was being so pointed about it. It felt like my initial thought was, oh, it's code. They both know what's happening, or at least to some extent know what's happening. This is just code. I mean, maybe that's probably more likely, but
I get the feeling that Perrin is pretty detached from everything Mon's doing. I don't think we've had a single line where he's mentioned any of this stuff. So I don't know.
I do think it would be funny if both things are true. Like, I love the theory that, or not even the theory. Like, I do agree with you. I don't think I picked it up on the first time that like she did that on purpose to get them off the scent of the money. But I would love if she didn't even know, but she caught him in the fact that he has been gambling on the side. Like, oh no, she knows.
Yeah, she's just talking out her ass, and it's like, oh god, I've messed up. Okay, so we've already talked about the ending. We've talked a lot about Mon, so we're kind of all over the place. So I'm just going to start throwing things out.
Can we talk about Cassian Andor?
Sure. I mean, is there anything in particular?
I don't like him.
Whoa!
Just like the whole character.
I don't like this. Like this season, as in general, especially in this last episode, his character, like, it feels like it's almost backwards growth for his character. It's kind of wild to me. Like until the last second of that episode, right, where he goes back to Luthen or what, and kind of says, "Oh, kill me." Like, it feels like his character is progressing backwards. Like, everything he does seems so like not genuine, and like, I don't know. I don't like his character development at all.
So I get some of it. I do think he's genuine. I'll push back on that. I think we see a lot of heart in him, especially in this episode when it comes to Bix, when it comes to Marva. So I feel like right now he's very much just motivated on like just trying to protect his friends and family, protect Ferrix. You know, I feel like he is kind of the noble hero that he didn't even really want to be. So I kind of like that. I will say, coming into this, I was like, I don't care about Andor. Why are we getting an Andor show? And I love the character so much more now. Like, from where I was, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, he's not Stellan Skarsgård type performance and character, in my opinion. But I like, and I will say I love him more than I did.
Yeah, I do think Andor is an interesting character where it's like, he was probably my least favorite character in Rogue One. Like, I did not enjoy him. I just didn't really see his motivation here. And I think that's where I can hear what you're saying of like, I think for the good majority of the series, Andor was kind of aimless. I think he's very genuine. I think he cared about his family, but he doesn't really have anything that he cares about, like motivation wise, like driven, right? And I think I'm hoping that this, like, his mom's speech has like, and his experiences in the jail and everything else are seeds that have planted in him of like his now passion project will be this rebellion. And we know where it goes to. So it honestly makes Rogue One make more sense of why he's so like, yeah, you're going to, like, people are going to die. We need, like, the extreme of how he is makes sense when you see the extreme of some of the people that have influenced him.
I don't, but see, that's the problem. I don't, like, if his passion project ends up being the rebellion, like, if in season 2 you start to see him kind of develop that relationship, like right away start to develop that relationship with Saw and start to be kind of the in-between kind of like, person between these different sections of the rebel, I don't think it'll make sense. I will genuinely be confused if that's where you start off a season 2. because I don't think he's even like, I don't think he's earned the ability to say like to be this like to care about the Rebel Alliance like this. He shouldn't care about them.
Well, Khalil, just I didn't bring you on here for cold takes, so I'm loving what you're bringing right now. I think it's bold. I don't necessarily agree. That's fine. I think uh, I think they've laid out really well why he's a rebel. I mean, I think that we've seen the pressure that was put on his home planet, his ex-girlfriend or girlfriend Bix, and then we also see like more personally, he was in prison and was nearly killed. Like I feel like he's seen every dark side of the Empire within these last couple months that he possibly could, and I think that very much details why he's willing to go and do what he's doing.
And a big thing about the prison too that I think it was kind of glossed over is like the fact that he didn't do like yes he did another bank robbery that he probably should have went to jail for, but what he actually got arrested for was literally just being there. Like, and I think like that's like how could you not start to get it? And I think he had no reason to hate the Empire, but I think the show, at least for me, has given me enough of like I can see where it's hurt everyone in his life. Everyone we talked about is who he cared about. It's like even the mother, everyone has been hurt by this Empire. Now he has as well. At a certain point, I don't want him to be, I agree with you, like I don't want him to be full like wearing a rebellion t-shirt and like all in right away. I think season 2 still needs to see some of that growth, but I can see where he came to at the end of this of like, at this point, I'm just gonna join you because this is the most important thing right now.
I just don't think there's enough. Like maybe I'm just completely like, missing the thing, like the story, like his story arc. I might need to rewatch it like properly and instead of in these weird like 3-episode segments. But I think like I don't know. I just feel like in my mind, there's not being like this real like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to like, I need to stop these guys. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's still like, yeah, I need to protect myself from these guys, but it's not, I need to go be a hero and save like random people on random planets type thing.
Yeah, so no, I hear you. I mean, he's very much a reserved character, and like I don't know that we'll ever get that like big, like vocal or
But that's what he is in Rogue One. So
is he though? Like I feel like he's always kind of yeah. I mean, now I'm thinking of like some lines and stuff, but we have a whole season to get there.
Yeah, and I do think there's probably gonna be more power with this. I don't know. I mean, I think they could have spent more time on it, but I think the mother's speech, like, it has to, you imagine, influence a little bit. Like, she's been kind of planting those seeds in him for a bit of like, I have given up everything for the rebellion. Like, it's the most important thing. So I like to think maybe that's part of the influence that we're gonna see going into season 2, hopefully.
Okay, I want to ask you guys about. I got a couple pairs of characters I want to talk about here. Let's move on to Vel and Cinta because I think this was what with Cinta. My complaints are very similar to mine. I love Cinta. I want more Cinta. I think she's kind of a badass. Vel, I guess we had the right amount of Vel, so I can't really complain there. But this episode, they had a lot to do with nothing, really. Same with Luthen. Like their goal was to come here and kill Andor. They didn't get even close. I guess we didn't see them leave, but Luthen was like, I'm out. Like, I give up. So, but I don't know. Vel and Cinta, I guess the big thing for Cinta this episode was like, she was kind of like watching this other guy who she was suspicious of. Turns out she was like the rebel implant spy and he was the Empire implant spy. And they're kind of like, they're kind of getting onto each other. But she ends up killing him there. She stabs him with a very tiny knife, might I add. I don't know how he went down that quickly. But yeah, she got a kill in at least. What do you think about these two characters, Khalil?
Hold on. Okay. Either my brain. Wait, I need you to remind me. Who are they? Like,
yes.
My brain's not doing names right now.
They're the rebels that work with Luthen, the ones that were on the heist.
Right.
The two women, yes.
Right.
They're
okay,
apparently
yes.
they're a queer couple, but we see no signs of that.
I just like everyone feels like honestly, again, maybe this is just my hate toward casting Andor. I'm sorry. I like the show. I don't like the character. It's a weird situation. I want everybody, like I want them to get significantly more attention in season 2. at the expense of Andor, ideally, because I want these characters. I really like these characters. The problem is they have to still focus on the main character of the show for some reason. It's disappointing. But yeah, I like all of these side characters have been amazing, and they've just been like, I want more of that. Like, you know.
This could have easily been a Mothma show, guys. Just change the title, give her a
cowards.
Couple extra scenes. Andor can still be in it. Just like Ma, you can be the side character.
Yeah, because I agree. Like with this plot line, the whole casting thing, it could have been trimmed out. To me, that wasn't even, or do something more with it. Have it tie into the funeral at some point. Maybe the speech convinces Luthen to like help assist now and help the fight there instead of just running away and being like, peace, I'm out of here. I feel like there's a way to tie it together, and it just kind of felt like a separate thing, just to be like, oh yeah, these people are still here. They're doing stuff. Don't worry about them. But not enough to really add anything to the episode or really add anything. And it sucks because they are great characters.
You know what would have been cool? I was just thinking about this. What if instead of them just chilling and waiting, what if they actually were like, what if they were sent to go track down and kill Andor, and then they end up tracking him to the prison, and then they kind of have a confrontation there. Like, I feel like that would have been a cool thing to do. Like, instead of just waiting for him to show up, like, what if they had like this separate thing where they basically had to track him down, and so when he's in the prison, they're basically trying to figure out where he went, right? Or something like that. Especially because, like, you think about it, right? He's in prison. If the rebels are good at the one thing they're supposed to be good at, they should know that and try to kill him or something, because in that prison, he probably could have found a way to reach someone who needed information and could have given information and could have, gotten rid of Luthen, right? Like, I don't know.
I really like that because another complaint about the series for me is like a lot of character arcs for like 4 to 5 episodes are them like sitting down eating cereal, right? And I think Vel and Cinta got a lot of that. A lot, like Cinta, her whole character was like, like dirty glances on Ferrix, like just waiting outside the mom's house. It's like they could have given a lot more to do here.
It was like
that would be so cool.
Yeah.
It was like episode 2 or 3 where they were like, all right, you got to go find Andor. And it's like, but you didn't, you just sat. Like, I thought that what you just pitched is what I thought they were going to do when they said that. Like, okay, they're going to go be like, like bounty hunters hunting down him. And it's like, nope, we're just going to sit and like not talk about a relationship, but like, I want to be part of the relationship, but I just want to focus on the rebellion stuff. It was just either dive deep into that and like dive into that like personal conflict, or I don't know. They just needed more justice, I think, all around.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I've got to ask a question now. I'm gonna take over Michael's role, and I'm gonna ask a question. Do you think this show lacked fighting and action in general? Like, do you think it was too light on action?
No. If anything, I would say some of it's a little uninspired. I think like our first fight scene and our last fight scene, they're very similar. They're in the same location and they're kind of doing the same things. I think I would have liked, more diversity within the action, but I think it was the right amount. And I think the show was different in that, like, it was, here we are complaining about a lot of the characters, but it was way more character focused. And I think, like, again, I'm going to just keep talking about Mon Mothma. I mean, without that stuff, like, I don't think I would have cared about the show half as much. And a lot of her relationships as well with Vel and Luthen, and that spiders out to the other characters. So, I no complaints on the action really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the show, it's weird, right? Because I do think it's like, I think it was the right amount for this show that I think, and I don't know how much they pitched it as this, is it feels like a dialogue heavy political show. Like that was the purpose. And so a lot of the conflict is personal conflict. A lot of the conflict is your moral conflict and stuff like that. And I think that's like a big part of, I think if you had too much conflict or too much actual physical fighting, I think you would have to lose some of that. And I think we got the right amount of both.
The only thing I'd have to say about that though is like, I guess like when you think about the early Rebel Alliance, right? And what's the kind of image in your head? It's this scrappy, like, like extremely hunted element of people, right? Like the Empire wants the rebels dead. That's like their thing. Like they want to squash the rebellion. And I feel like too much of it on both the Empire side and the Rebel side was like people standing and having conversations as like the conflict, right? Like I feel like there is never any point where like you'd think there would be there'd be significantly more conflict just in the sense of like the Empire really does want to kill all the rebels. Like that's their whole thing. So why are they not like putting like there's no more level of a conflict of like actual physical conflict?
But that's the thing. I think we got there in this episode. Like we've followed Dedra's journey in like discovering that there even is a rebellion, right? And like a lot of her story was like trying to convince other people that this is an actual problem. And I think we finally got there. And like there is some hesitancy on the Empire side where they're like, okay, well, we don't want to go full force. We don't want to like completely start a war right now. Like you saw with the Krieger missions that we never even got to see, where they were like, well, let's kind of like set bait, like let's kind of, we don't want to like show our hands too quickly. I think they're playing very careful. And, the more things like that happened on Aldhani and now on Ferrix, I think they're only going to get more and more aggressive. And also, as far as the rebels go, I mean, it's a group of disgruntled people right now. They're not warlords, right? It's just people that are unhappy with situations. And I think
that's literally in the show, but okay, sure, they're not
warlords. He's always going to be the very strict guerrilla fighter, and always has been. That's always been his character. But everyone else, I mean, they're like robbing banks. They're not trying to like blow up buildings.
I just feel like there's there's points where it's like you'd think because of how much is on the line, especially like in between the rebel groups, like more of like I guess the image is like the scene where Saw and Luthen are like talking, and then it's like Saw gets all paranoid about, oh my god, do you have like someone spying on me? It's like that kind of tension, but it was nowhere else in the show. I felt like it wasn't that same level of tension anywhere else in the show, like between the other, like Mon Mothma it didn't feel like she had that level of tension. Like she always seemed like almost like she was comfortable and safe, like.
Well, and I think that's more Saul's character. Like I think that is more developing Saul's character by doing that, because that is who he is. He is a very paranoid. He's always working from this mindset that like the worst enemy I have is my own allies. That's been his character since the early days. I think the thing that's hard to separate is like we know where the rebels and the Empire's relationship goes to at the end, and I think we're putting that on the front end. And it's like Michael pointed out pretty well, is like they still are trying to discover what the rebels aren't. They're not calling them rebels yet. They're just groups of attacks happening. It's not this organized group yet. And so I don't think the Empire is taking them that seriously. I think part of what the Empire's hubris is the fact that like they didn't catch this at the bottom. They let it grow and marinate like a good steak. They marinated it. And then it became their greatest enemies. But I think at this point, they're not taking it that seriously. I think that's what the show is trying to show in that way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear you. It's not like perfect. And I think, with most things on Disney Plus, there's going to be like, could there have been a better way to do this? And maybe, but I thought, again, in terms of how things typically go on Disney Plus, I was pretty happy with how they did this. I do want to ask you, Khalil, about I almost thought we were going to get some Rise of the Sky or Return. What the fuck is that movie called? I tried to forget about it. Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god!
I thought we were going to get some bullshit like that with Dedra and Cyril. Like literally, there was some steamy looks after he saved her there.
I've been calling this, Michael. I was shipping this train since day one. Hey, just I won't say more, but I am OG.
Khalil, what do you think? Are you pro this relationship here?
I don't think we need to force relationships without like. As in, I don't need more of the let's just throw two random characters the internet really likes together. Just because, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it can go there, but it needs to be developed, right? Like, you can't just do something, or you can, I guess, because they can do whatever they want, but you shouldn't do something where you see something, you read a bunch of tweets, and then you're like, let's make this happen. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be fair, like nobody was a fan of these characters when they filmed the show. They're brand new, right?
Are people still a fan of them now? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are like standing these individuals to begin with. But with that being said, I do believe you're onto something there. You know, I don't think that it's necessary, but you know, I think the seeds are there. You know, all good relationships only start with like a glance or two. So, you know. I don't think it's an accident. I think it's intentional. I think something is going to come of it. And I don't know. It's interesting. Like, you know, I think there's a lot. I think this is explored a lot throughout Star Wars where there's these relationships of these people that don't necessarily meld. Anakin and Padme, right? I mean, Leia and Luke. I think that this is Kylo and Rey. And I think this is another example of that, of like these two people that are come from like very different worlds and have very different mentalities and really shouldn't have this type of connection. And it's there. And I don't know. I think that's kind of fun.
She needs to kill him.
I think she might, to be fair.
Like she's gonna. It has to be a moment. Like the best thing they could do. It has to be a moment where, you know, because I feel like he's gonna become soft super quickly. Like I feel like he's gonna is gonna do something and help Andor escape somewhere or something in season 2, and she's gonna have to, like, you know, and then she needs to kill him, put aside her feelings, kill her, and show the killer instinct of the Empire, right? I'm tired of these Imperials being soft and weak and like you know, like oh my god, Rebels, what's his name, the dude who was with the Imperial and Rebels.
Yeah, Callus, I think.
Callus, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need any more of this. Like, Imperials there's the majority of the Imperials are supposed to be evil. That's why the Empire functions. If half of the top level Imperials just turn out to be like all versions of Darth Vader, like, what's the point?
That's the thing with Cyril, though. He's literally not part of the Empire. I mean, he kind of like, he worked for the ISB, which was I don't fully understand it, but it's kind of like a branch of the Empire. They kind of like rented out the security bureau, and he worked for them. So like, he never truly was under the Empire, and he definitely isn't now that he's been fired. And I think
I'm not saying him, I'm saying her.
Oh, well, is that a question? I don't think she's gonna be good in any sense.
Yeah, I think she goes super bad.
Yeah, I think Cyril,
she needs to kill him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I like that, and this is my pitch. Maybe they get together, maybe they don't. But when they're like in the morning after, she poisons the cereal. That makes the cereal scenes make sense. It all comes full circle. So the cereal is how he dies. Calling it right here.
I think that would be
that.
Yeah, I think
if they do that, that'll be my favorite Star Wars show ever, because they'll rationalize the worst part of the show.
I mean, I don't think Tony Gilroy's above this. One of my favorite things, and I'm jumping to the post-credit scene here, where we see what they were building was part of the disc in the Death Star. And the irony of that is Andor is killed by the Death Star. So he basically helped build the thing that killed him. You know, maybe there's something there with cereal and poison.
The cereal that built him will take him down, Michael.
And now I'm dead.
That's just a random Marva quote. Tommy, it's so hard to pull sound clips from this show.
Yeah. It was like, what if the show gives us one solid sound clip, we will never find the peak sound clip machine that was She-Hulk that gave us.
Oh God.
Wait, what do you mean? You cut out of what's his face's speech? My God, Luthen.
What part? I mean, it's also
the whole thing.
The best. This is the best one I pulled.
You might as well wear a sign that says, "I promise to disappoint you."
And I want more chances to play that, but it feels so mean.
That's a wrong answer when we do trivia again.
Yeah. Perfect. But yeah, so what else? What are we missing here? We
Okay, I have a
talked-
question for you, kind of unrelated.
Bring it on.
Okay, because I'm thinking about action in Star Wars movies. What are your like top 3 favorite Star Wars action scenes ever?
My favorite is an underrated one. It's Ahsoka versus Darth Maul in Clone Wars in the throne room. Also,
Okay.
I'm a fan.
valid.
I like throne room fights. I like the throne room fight in the Last Jedi too. So
That yeah,
I-
that's
well,
my
I've-
favorite.
I've seen some videos where like if you break down like the actual choreography, it's like really stupid. But like I don't, you never catch that stuff. So
Someone tried to show that to me to mess with, because I was talking about how much I loved the scene. Someone showed that to me just to to annoy me, and I was like, I don't care.
yeah. Okay, what about I want to talk about B2 Emo because once again he's just such a sad like everything about this man. He got tossed over and like they kept cutting back to him in the middle of the fight where he's just still like laying over like a spilt trash can. Like nobody ever went to pick him up. Like even like as things were dying down, he was still like on his side.
Also, did I catch this that they try to throw a coat on him first? Like it's like
Yeah, that's it. It's like yeah.
cover him up. He's exposed. Like just kick him over first. I just thought that would have been the first method. Yeah, he's a real sad boy. Like I don't think he said one happy thing in like a long time.
The happiest thing is that he was able to get off this planet. That's his real win, I guess. What else do we have here? There was like, yeah, Tommy.
Bix, what do we see for her future? I really, she's another character that I really thought the actress did a great job with, but I don't feel like they gave her a ton to do, and I would love to see more of her in season 2.
Dead.
Oh no.
Dead.
Oh my god.
No one did.
Yeah, you think she's? Yeah, I mean, I think that's the question with all these characters. Is just like if and when they're gonna die. It feels inevitable.
She has to die. She has to die.
I hear you because here you're still on the train that like Andor's not a rebel yet, so like he needs that death to be it, right?
They need
Was the torture not enough?
Screen.
Yeah.
No, they have to kill her on screen because of Andor. That'll be satisfied.
Okay, interesting. I'm not done. I totally can see that happening. So
yeah.
I thought one of the saddest things I've ever seen I've seen a lot of sad things, but super depressing. When she's in her holding cell and they're playing that music outside, and she's just kind of like looking out the window, like that is so depressing. Which, by the way, the ceremonial music was incredible. I really love that. Like I want that in the background of my entire life because it's like it's kind of depressing but also hopeful at the same time. So well done.
Yeah, I think the sound design in general, I've been really pleased with. It's been subtle. Like I don't think there's any, but there are songs or beats that I've heard, musical beats for certain characters. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I think there's been cool stuff they've been doing there.
Best Star Wars TV show music. I can say that.
Can't deny that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mandalorian is close, but I think
It is
outside of
good.
like the theme and a few other ones, like I think the Mandalorian kind of like the theme for the Mandalorian is killer. I'm not super sold on the rest of it. The music is it.
You don't like the Book of Boba Fett theme where they're like slowly saying Boba Fett over and over again? Boba Fett.
What's that show?
Book of Star Wars.
I don't-
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Boba Fett I hated the way they mishandled the show, as in they didn't do exactly what I wanted with that. I've done rants on this before, but like, oh Lord, I needed less Boba Fett. I need more Boba Fett versus Jabba and less whatever they gave us. But
Yeah.
Or versus various huts.
Okay. Is there anyone any final thoughts on the episode, guys? Any predictions for season 2?
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
it's
I've
like
got
2
so
years
many.
away. Yeah.
I've got so many predictions.
Yeah.
What
That's another podcast, I think.
Mothma's daughter. Does she die too? Does everyone like?
I still-
what happens-
She has to die as well. Like there's a few characters who have to die.
everyone dies.
No, just the people who matter to making the rebels sad, depressed, and alone. Because if you're happy in your family, you're not going to try to kill the Empire. You have to be angry at the Empire. And so inevitably, you have to lose the things you love.
I think she joins the Empire. What's worse than her dying to the Empire than becoming part of the Empire and being part of the thing she's fighting against? I think that would break Mon.
Okay, but
That-
why?
But Tommy, that's like that. You know the thing that Khalil's complaining about Andor, where he says he's not a rebel yet. That that's like how I see what you're saying.
Weren't they showing that with the scene where she's like she was in class and they were like she's really buying into it? I thought they had put the seats down for that.
Well, I think so my reading on that was she's actually like studying some of, I can't remember their home planet's name, but it was like
Gotcha.
some traditions of their home planet. They didn't really explain it super well, but basically what I got from it was like little Leto was like trying to stick it to her mom because her mom doesn't like that stuff, and that's why she was doing it.
Okay.
You know, I'll give that to you a little bit. Okay, this is my idea. You tell me what you think.
Let's
What
go.
if
I'm getting props.
What if she joins the Empire? Okay.
Oh, not that wasn't for me.
No. It is partially because she wants to stick it to her mother,
Okay.
right? And then she ends up in a situation where basically her mother has to kill her.
Whoa. I
Somehow
don't-
she's gonna end up dead. I'm just giving you another alternative way where her, because think about the emotional trauma that will put her through. That's perfect rebel material.
I don't know that Mon is ever in a position where she needs to kill somebody though. I feel like, maybe Vel, but
What if she chooses her daughter over Luthen and she kills Luthen and her daughter then survives? So she
you really want
basically
Mon to
feels-
kill somebody.
No, Mon doesn't kill anyone. Her daughter kills Luthen.
Oh.
Then she is left with the guilt of saying, I didn't have the strength to kill my daughter, which shows kind of that weakness of the rebels that they kind of have for the entirety of Star Wars, right? And then it also shows she also loses someone, right? It feels like a win-win scenario. And then her daughter also stays alive and is evil. And also is the reason she lost arguably maybe her closest friend. I don't know if she has friends, but
Most likely she'll just get married and then go off and it'll be like, look at what you did. You caused your daughter to get married and go off.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be so much more epic if she had to choose between the rebels and her daughter? She chose her daughter, and then it was kind of like, oops, bad choice, because now the guy who held everything together is dead, which means Saw's gonna go off. He's not gonna trust Mon Mothma, because he barely trusts Luthen. He's not gonna trust Mon Mothma, which would explain him kind of ending up being so anti-rebel. Because you could argue Axis holds everything together, is what you were saying before, right? So if Axis dies and Mon Mothma is the reason, imagine something like Saw. Is he gonna be willing to trust Mon Mothma?
I do have to give an update really quickly. I just thought about it. We did do a death draft last episode with Robbie, and we did not guess nobody important. All the people we thought, I can't remember exactly. Some combination of we picked Lita, Dedra, Vel, and Cinta, I think, and they're all alive. So I will say this is one thing, especially in this last episode. There's so many background characters that are there was I don't know, just there's 2 or 3 slender middle-aged white men that I'm like, who are you? Are you the guy that is in the thing? A lot they all died in the fight too. So I don't know.
I mean, some of these background characters can be super useful. Do you know why? Because you give them a moment, people kind of like them. You don't know, because they're background characters. There's no continuity issues if you decide to bring them back, right? Yep. These characters are useful because the problem with the main characters are like Rogue One. I'm sure you guys remember all the speculation going into Rogue One was are they going to really just kill off the entire cast, or are they going to have is Ursula going to end up being joining the Empire, right? Because there's the scene in the trailer where she's wearing the armor, right? And they're is she going to end up are they all going to end up being the Knights of Ren? You remember all that speculation? I feel we're stuff. But then what happened? They all died.
Yeah. So I think
they were all killed.
And I think we all loved that decision. So I don't think that that's going to become something they're going to avoid here. I think there's going to be a lot of death in season 2. Khalil, thank you so much for doing this with us. This was so much fun. I do want to give you the chance to tell people where they can find you online, your videos, your podcasts, all the stuff that you're up to.
Oh, yeah. So you can find everything on YouTube, and we're also on all the podcast feeds. Just type in Comic Boys, no spaces, and everything should show up. I've tried it. It works. You can find me on social media at Khalil Jamel 03 and on that new version of Twitter with just Khalil Jamel, because I could actually have my name as my handle for once. So that's awesome. And you can find the Comic Boys channel at Comic Boys _ and on the new version of Twitter just at Comic Boys, because again, I'm stealing those things while they're available. Because
Yeah, that's Hive, but if people don't
that's
know,
the one.
Hive.
Thank you. I
Hive,
cannot
and
remember what it's called.
New Twitter. Yeah, that's fair. I think it's more like a combination of Twitter and Instagram. Even I really we joined Hive as well, and I like Hive a lot. So yeah, but I'll put like your link tree in the bio if you want to come check that stuff out. Make it super easy for them.
Yeah, we do cool interviews too. We've done interviews and stuff too.
Yeah.
So there's a reason to check us out, you know?
Yeah. Khalil, I want to hit you with this real quick. We're about to wrap up, but sometimes we like to close with recommendations. To be frank, I don't have one. Tommy, I don't know if you have one, but I got to ask you, you're watching a lot of different things. Can you like tell somebody like what maybe like your favorite movie or TV show you've seen recently, or book or anything like that?
Am I allowed to use animation? Because I know it's going
yes.
to annoy some people.
No. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, this isn't recent for me, but it's recent for like everybody else. So I mean, like Fablemans and Glass Onion, go. Those are fantastic. I saw them at TIFF, so it's like not recent for me, but like those are awesome, and they're coming out now or something. I don't actually know when they're releasing. I should, but
I think Knives
check
Out.
those out.
I think did Knives Out come out this week in theaters and then coming to Netflix next month? I think that's people are going to go to the theater and like, oh, Knives Out isn't playing, and they're going to write to me. But yeah, Tommy, anything from you to close us out? Any final thoughts?
No, just keep listening here. If you're not,
Also Guardians.
Sorry, we're done.
Well, it's special too. That I watched that today.
Yeah. We will be recapping that on Monday, a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So if y'all want to check that out.
But have you guys seen it?
Oh, yeah. Tommy has not.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Offline, Michael. We're going to have to chat a little
Yeah,
bit.
please don't. We have a whole podcast we're going to do about it. We shouldn't talk about it now.
No, offline. We'll talk offline.
Yeah.
Because I have some thoughts. I got to make a review on that actually now. I might as well. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do right after this.
All right, guys, I will close this out here. I like to remind you guys to rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify, preferably 5 stars. Also, please subscribe because we're going to be here multiple times a week, it seems like. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Hive, TikTok, at Star Wars Pod. Also, we have a little Discord community going on, so if that's something you're interested in, you can hit us up and we'll get you in there. But that is all we got for you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Bye. Trying to go for the